Today we're going to explore Salt Lake City, Utah's capital and home to the Latter-day Saints Church. We're going to test the Colorado's top speed, or not, at the Bonneville Salt Flats. We're gonna take a dip in the Great Salt Lake. We're gonna drive the Alpine Loop with trailer in tow. Not recommended. Then the road will take us south, and we'll drive on legendary State Route 12 through Red Canyon, Kodachrome Basin State Park, Escalante, and the section known as the Hogback, Capitol Reef, and eventually Dead Horse Point and Island in the Sky, in another action-packed episode coming up next.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.
So I've been here in Salt Lake City now for a couple of days. Got a visit from longtime viewer Bill, and he treated me to some Crown Burgers, a local delicacy. Now it is Saturday, September 5th, 2020, and Neely just arrived last night, so let's do some exploring. This is the heart of downtown here, the Latter-day Saints' imposing office skyscraper here to the right. That's their office building. The actual temple should be nearby. Seems like a pretty cool downtown. We shall come back later and visit. But first, let's stop by the Capitol building, as we usually do in capital cities. Here we are. Very classic design with the central cupola and the two wings, built between 1912 and 1916. Symbol of industry and the motto of the citizens of Utah. No wonder there are so many bees at the campground. Beautiful views of the city from up here. Downtown and the Mormon Temple, which is undergoing renovations, by the way. Actually, by the time you watch this, it is probably done. Across the street, the old City Hall, nowadays the Office of Tourism. It is such a lovely city, surrounded by mountains. And here's the Mormon Battalion Monument, commemorating the 500 Mormon volunteers who joined the U.S. Army during the Mexican-American War. Here's a sculpture of Indian Chief Massasoit. He was the one who greeted the pilgrims at Plymouth Rock. Nice houses up on the hill. Beautiful grounds and beautiful building. One of these days we'll return and go inside. On to our next destination. We're going to drive west almost to the Nevada border to the Bonneville Salt Flats. Should be very interesting. Is that the Great Salt Lake I see? It sure is. Oh, check it out. Morton. That's where they make the salt. Or extract it from the lake, rather. And there's Cargill. They make diamond crystal salt. I think we're getting close to the salt flats. I don't know why I get that feeling. And we are approaching this roadside sculpture called the Tree of Utah, built in 1986 by European sculptor Carl Moman. And in the past, you were allowed to stop on the side of the road, take a selfie and all that, but now they have a sign clearly stating emergency stopping only. So that's a buzzkill. This seems to be the rest area where you can stop and access the flats. So let's take a little break. I guess lots of people come to take pictures and drive their vehicles in this unique place. It kind of reminds me of the racetrack playa in Death Valley just because of its perfect flatness.
Should I do it or should I not do it? Try to break that speed record. You guys want to see how fast the Colorado can go?
Yes, we didn't come here just to see, we also came to do. So let's drive on the salt flats, shall we? I think we've had enough fun for one day, and I totally got disoriented, and I think I got out at the wrong place, but it is still I-80, so let's continue west. There's another spot I want to check out called Bonneville Salt Flats International Speedway, which is the official racetrack here, and it has been the venue for many land speed records. It is actually a lot smoother here. No wonder. Since we are so close, let's drive a couple of miles farther west into the town of Wendover, Nevada. Of course, they're gonna have a bunch of casinos, right? Because Nevada, of course. But what happens in Wendover stays in Wendover. Let's go back to Salt Lake City. We took a pretty long nap after our trip to the Salt Flats and West Wendover, and now we're gonna try and see some of downtown with the little light we have left. Here we are. Now let's look for parking. And all this construction here around the Temple Square doesn't really help now, does it?
You think they sanitize this every night?
Let's check out City Creek Center, which is this upscale shopping center, and there's once again the temple, which is kind of hard to appreciate behind all the cranes and the scaffolding. It seems like a really cool city, actually. They've got this light rail system. Unfortunately, we won't be able to explore it in depth this time around. Well, City Creek here is really more than an outdoor mall. Apparently it has office and residential space as well, and fountains, and the fake creek. Let's go for a stroll around the Temple Square. It is very nice. I like the juxtaposition of the classic with the modern. Also, where else in the world would you find two young women taking selfies with Jesus Christ? It is an imposing temple, even under renovations. Here's the impressive office building belonging to the Church of the Latter-day Saints. There's something about this place that exudes power and wealth. It is very palpable as you walk around the streets of Salt Lake City at dusk. The Beehive House here, built in 1854, was Brigham Young's home. He was the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormons. He was the governor of the Utah Territory and a polygamist, hence the large house. There's also the Lion House, very historic. No visit to Salt Lake City would be complete without visiting the Great Salt Lake, right? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to Antelope Island State Park, just for the day. $15 to get into the park for up to 8 people. Seems a little steep, but we're here. I mean, for $5 more, we would have been able to camp, I think, but campgrounds are full, so... We're gonna see if we can see the lake, maybe do a trail or something like that, and then by noon, or maybe a little later, we'll start heading south. Kind of a bummer that it's so hazy, you know, it's like the smokes are back. It's nature, you know, you can't control it. It's supposed to be a pretty cool park. They have a bunch of hiking trails, a beach area, campgrounds, and bison. They have some bison sculptures here to greet us. Let's hope we get to see the real ones. Let's take a break. Well, did a quick lunch here, just a couple of sandwiches. Didn't show you guys. And now, I'm gonna see if I can make it to the beach. And maybe we can float in the super salty waters of the Great Salt Lake. Wouldn't that be cool? I see some people down there. Yep, definitely some people in the water. This is the visitor center here, and they have a white bison sculpture. Pretty cool.
We got buffalo. Way out there. All right, let's continue.
So here's the parking for the beach. Let's go on a little hike first and then we'll return. And there's another one.
Another buffalo. Right, how about my parking skills, huh? Let's go for a little hike. This is called the Buffalo Point and it's like 0.4 miles. It should be easy. So apparently this is it. We are here and it's just a quick loop. And I guess this is it. This is the actual Buffalo Point. It's 0.4 miles one way. Let me tell you, it's actually a little disappointing that it is so hazy because the views here coming up are truly spectacular. That must be one of the campgrounds down there. Yeah, beautiful views to both sides actually. Almost at the top. Yeah, what a view. Yeah, let's come this way, take a picture and start heading back.
And that's the other campground, apparently. That's a pretty nice view of the Great Salt Lake. There's Minitini II, all the way down there. Let's go to the beach.
Okay, all I've got is the handheld GoPro because we're going all the way to the lake and I'm gonna see if I can float in the water. It's supposed to be a thing. Let's do this. Now we are swimming in the Great Salt Lake. I float. All right, everybody, we're floating in the Great Salt Lake.
Yes, we did it. Now that we've checked that off the bucket list, let's continue. The rest of Utah waits. Look at that! Even the grain elevator is owned by the church. Just a little smoky. Definitely smokier than I'd prefer. Let's go to the mountains. And there's this scenic drive here that comes highly recommended. It is called the Alpine Loop. Entering Yuinta National Forest. Let's take a break.
I'm gonna take a quick lunch here, but check it out. We have a view of this creek from our dining room.
Yep, that's the way to do it, with a hammock.
And there's the Minitini II. One quick stop here along the way. Is fall coming, or is it just me? That summit, 8,060 feet above sea level, and let me tell you, this road not for the faint of heart. And perhaps it's very narrow. That's the one thing, the Alpine Loop. But it's an adventure.
We're getting some incipient fall colors here on this side of the mountain. Let's go see a waterfall. This is Bridal Veil Falls, and you can see it from right here, just off US 189, also known as Provo Canyon Road. It is beautiful. And look at all the people taking a shower. Provo Canyon here, absolutely gorgeous. And so are the falls. Here's the legend of the falls.
All right. Beautiful waterfalls here, and check it out. It's beautiful, beautiful waterfall. And our day is nearly over.
In 600 feet, turn left onto US 189 South.
Thank you, little lady. And we're gonna stay at, take a wild guess, KOA at Filbert. I think Filbert or Fillmore, Filbert. And it's not like I love KOAs or I'm not, they're not paying me or anything like that, but they have a 21st century booking system, and it's so easy just to open your app. What's the closest KOA? I don't have to call 10 different campgrounds, see if they have a opening, and that to me is
turn left onto US 189 South.
Worth the small premium you pay to stay at a KOA. This is the KOA journey. It's right next to I-15, and it should be just a quick overnight for $43. And tomorrow we explore the beautiful parts of southern Utah. I don't know if we're gonna do Bryce Canyon or Zion, but we're gonna be in the area, and eventually make it to Canyonlands National Park if all goes well. We'll see. If I can ever make a left here at this busy highway, we will. It's not a bad view though.
Provo here, pretty good looking town, let me tell ya. We should revisit someday. Check it out. That looks like a raging wildfire. No wonder it is so smoky. Well, yeah, that's a scary fire. It's got that ominous volcano eruption look to it, right? Look at the little plane dropping the flame retardant on the fire. Our destination today, Fillmore, Utah. And from there, we're gonna start heading east into the most strikingly beautiful vistas this state has to offer.
Well, this is what we're gonna call it. Right here at the Fillmore Koa, and we have this view of these mountains here. Quite nice, actually. All right, the smoke is back. Unbelievable. In any case, got propane, dumped the gray water, and it is Labor Day, by the way, and like clockwork, it's gonna get cooler, much cooler tonight. It's gonna be like in the 40s, at least 50s, which is a welcome respite from the heat.
We're going to continue on Interstate 15 south here for a few more miles. Then, by Sulphurdale, we're taking I-70 east at its western terminus into the more remote and most uniquely beautiful parts of the state. Eventually, we take US 89 south, which will take us near two of the Big Five Utah National Parks, Bryce and Zion, neither of which we're going to visit today because, well, we've been there before and we'll definitely visit again, just not on this trip. Our priority today is to drive State Route 12, which I mistakenly skipped when we were here back in 2014. Let's take a break here by the Sevier River and fly the drone. Continue. That's gotta be Paiute Reservoir there on the left. A couple of hours later, we are in Panguitch. Pretty busy intersection here. And here we are, East Utah State Route 12. Here we go! Well, ever since we came in 2014 with the rental RV, I've wanted to take this Highway 12 back then, and I think it was a couple of miles farther here by the entrance to Bryce Canyon. We did a mini Mo, and we chose the wrong Mo, and we went through Johns Valley Road or something like that. When the real scenic drive is Utah Highway 12. So, tunnel 13.6. It's good to have a short RV in that sense. But yeah, it's starting to look like Bryce. We're not gonna do Bryce Canyon or anything like that, but there it says it there. Scenic Byway 12, All American Road. We're doing it. The whole Highway 12. Yep, this place is amazing. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this whole road into Escalante and then up to Torrey, up here. First, we're gonna drive through Red Canyon here for a little bit. Coming up here to the right, that's Bryce Canyon. To the left, the road that we took by mistake back in 2014. And here, to the right, we get a glimpse of the magnificence of Bryce Canyon. Look at all those hoodoos. Now approaching our next stop. Our first stop, really, if you think about it. Kodachrome Basin State Park. Nice house. Must be cool having this view out your window every day. Let me tell you, if it looks this beautiful with this hazy weather, can you imagine these colors on a clear sunny day? This place is supposed to be amazing, and even though we're only going to be here briefly, I think it might be worth the $10 admission price. Let's park, get our bearings before continuing the exploration. Why name a park after a brand of color film? Well, as the story goes, in 1948, the National Geographic Society came to explore the area for a story that later appeared on the magazine, and they named the area Kodachrome Flat because of the vibrant color rendition of the film in question. And the name stuck. These types of sandstone spires and columns, called sandpipes, are believed to be found nowhere else on the planet. So clearly we are in a very unique place here. Look at all these spires. I'm still imagining what this would look like on a nice sunny day. Lots of juniper trees, and some of them have these berries. Let's go back a little, do one of the shorter trails, and then continue on State Route 12.
We're just gonna do a little tiny bit of this trail.
I'm only gonna do this easy half-mile nature trail, but there are plenty of trails to do here. I mean, you could spend several days, for sure. Just a quick and easy trail. We are actually running behind schedule already.
Beautiful, beautiful area. This is all the time we allocated today, but we're obviously gonna come back at some point. All right, next time we're gonna do that one and go all the way up there. Apparently you can view all the way to Bryce Canyon from up there, so that'll be neat.
What a unique place this is.
All right, for the 45 minutes or so we spent here, probably $10 is a little much, but you could spend the whole day here. On a less hazy day and on a cooler weather day, we probably would have stayed longer. But you know, as we probably know by now, but the way I travel, sometimes I go in depth and some parts of the trip are overviews. This part of the trip is kind of an overview. We are like on a discovery mission here, and let me show you ahead. You know, if we didn't have this, and the smoke is clearing, it looks like it's clearing, but if we didn't have this hazy day, that would be like the super awesome view you would see from the top of that other trail that I didn't do. And I just, as I said on this trip, I kind of just wanted to do an overview of the Highway 12 and see what is all the fuss is about that I've been hearing about Route 12 for so many years, and to discover, you know, some of the places that we might want to do perhaps on a cooler season, you know, more in depth on another occasion. But this Kodachrome, or you know, it's absolutely a must see if you're in the area, I think.
I just love this part of the country with all these sandstone formations found mainly here in Utah and Arizona, of course. I kind of like the juxtaposition of this farming equipment with the natural beauty. It looks like we are entering Grand Staircase Escalante. We're gonna be going from famous place to famous place. Because of its remote location and rugged landscape, this was actually the last place in the contiguous United States to be mapped. Going north to south, the Grand Staircase looks just like that, like going down the steps of a giant staircase, ending in the Grand Canyon. Elevation 7,600 feet. Let's take a break.
Well, here's the scenic turnout. Just a little bit windy.
Yeah, what a magnificent view. State Route 12 so far does not disappoint, right? Some of these look like works of art. Doesn't that look like a smiley face? There's a cool RV resort built at the site of an old drive-in theater. It is very smoky, which is kind of a bummer because it is hard to appreciate the incredible landscape all around us. Let's stop here real quick by the Hole in the Rock wayside. There's this dirt road that goes to a bunch of cool places, and it is apparently okay for mid-size Class C RVs. I mean, that kind of looks like a 30-footer. In any case, there's like a bunch of slot canyons, arches, natural bridges, and plenty of BLM land to camp, so another place we shall return to. Wow, look at this landscape all of a sudden. Seriously, what kind of a place is this? It is like nothing I've ever seen before. It would have been nice to stop here, but not with the trailer. Maybe one of these days when we get a camper van or a small Class C, we'll be able to do that.
Oh, this is extraordinary.
The strong winds and the heavy smoke definitely enhance the otherworldliness of this landscape. Like we are stranded on Mars or something like that.
let's do it.
Yeah, it's really windy. We continue on Scenic Byway 12. What a drive, huh? This right here may be the most impressive part of this whole drive. On this ridge, with a precipice on both sides, the diminished visibility. It is really something. Hey, RV park, full hookups. Very tempting. I'm getting tired, but we can do a few more miles. Going up and up in elevation here, on this section called Boulder Mountain Highway, all the way up to 9,600 feet. We are getting close to our destination for the day, Torrey, Utah, and we have no reservations or anything like that, so let's see where we can stay. There are several RV parks in town, and there's always BLM land if all fails, but it is getting late, so we have to find something quick. What a unique experience, this drive, under these hazy conditions. It almost looks unreal. Our first choice here, Wonderland RV Park. Completely full, so on to the next one. Here we are. Sand Creek RV Park. It is also completely full, but the gentleman in charge is going to call nearby Thousand Lakes to see if they have any vacancy. And they do, so that's where we're going to spend the night. Here we are. We've made it.
Well, this was very fortuitous that we found this campsite. Actually, let me show you. We have our picnic table back here. We're gonna have probably some DiGiorno and wine. And look at the view from our campsite. This is quite a treat.
What a difference, huh? Yesterday so hazy, and today blue skies. Much colder, and windy too. And we may have some rain coming later.
Well, good morning. What a difference the day makes, huh? And in temperature, of course, yesterday was that torrid desert heat, and today is like in the low 40s. But the smoke is gone, so you know, we'll take it. Today we're going to the Moab area, which is, as you know, Arches National Park, Canyonlands, which is one of the main ones that I wanted to overview today, and Dead Horse Point. We'll see how much we can do. We're still 3 hours away, so and then I think I make the wrong turn. It's through here probably. And then we're going east, crossing the Rockies, and we have to monitor the weather because this afternoon is supposed to rain and snow over all the mountain passes in the Rockies. So we'll monitor, and if we have to take I-70, we'll take I-70 instead of like the more scenic route, which I-70 is pretty scenic.
In the time it took us to dump the holding tanks, the clouds rolled in. Oh well. The types of landscapes we're about to see are usually prettier with blue skies and sunlight, but we'll take it. This reminds me so much of our 2014 Four Corners road trip, the one that finally tipped the scale in favor of us buying an RV. And in fact, we did, just a month later. Actually, we took a picture exactly at this very spot. Here's the visitor center and the Fruta campground and the park's scenic drive, but we're gonna continue. I really want to see two other iconic places near Moab we've never seen before. We continue on this canyon on State Route 24 along the Fremont River, going towards the eastern entrance to the park. There are some petroglyphs, a natural bridge, historic structures, and some other points of interest along this road, but as I said, Moab awaits. It is a beautiful drive. What planet is this? Now it kind of looks like the moon.
Yeah, seems like a good spot to have breakfast, huh? Yeah. Oh yeah. Breakfast sandwiches with pesto. It's breakfast with a view. Well, this was certainly a cool spot for a quick meal here.
It is pretty windy, and doesn't that look like a Hershey kiss? Beautiful rock formations here on the side of the road. We're gonna keep going. Our next destination, Dead Horse Point State Park, and it looks like rain might be imminent. We're going to be very close to Goblin Valley, another wonderful place we visited back in 2014. Eventually, we hop on I-70 East for a little bit. And then we'll take US 191 south towards Moab. And you know that if it is raining here, it is snowing in the Rockies, right? It is gonna be an interesting pass tomorrow, but let's concentrate on today for now. Let's stop here for a moment at this vista point and enjoy the view. We stopped here for a moment to change the GoPro battery, and look what's coming down. Slit! Entrance to the park, $20 per vehicle, and this is a state park, so the America the Beautiful pass does not apply. Let's go all the way to the end of the road, which is the actual Dead Horse Point, and hopefully the weather will cooperate.
Well, we're gonna go for a short little hike here to Dead Horse Point. It's right there. It's raining a little bit. It's actually very, very cold rain. It's 37 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, let's do it. All right, it's just a short little hike to that covered platform over there. So it's even rain friendly because you know they have a small roof there. It's a little hazy still. Ah, look at that. Oh yeah, definitely one of the better views we've seen in a while, and yeah, look at that. Look at that meander of the... Is that the San Juan River?
It is, in fact, the Colorado, actually.
I wish you were here to see it, because in video you cannot really fathom the depth that we are experiencing here. It's quite amazing.
It is said that horses often died of exposure, having nowhere to go in this natural corral used by cowboys in the 19th century, hence the name Dead Horse Point. All of a sudden, it is clearing up, and the sun wants to come out. Look at it, reflecting on the surface of the mighty Colorado. And one of these days, when we have a 4x4, we're gonna go all the way down there.
Yeah, I look like Dr. Emmett Brown, don't I? In any case, this place, magnificent. The, what was it? The horseshoe, no, horseshoe, no. Dead Horse Point. It's one of those places that looks much better in real life than any pictures I had ever seen, so I was very pleasantly surprised by it. Even with the not perfect weather, it was still marvelous. And let's see, there's another viewpoint somewhere around here. I want to see if I can stop there. Otherwise, we're going to Canyonlands National Park.
And it is raining again. And there's the sign. Entrance fee is $30, but here I can use the America the Beautiful annual pass. Oh, this is gonna be so good. I just hope it doesn't rain. Let's stop here at Schaefer Canyon Viewpoint, the first overlook. Oh yeah, this is magnificent. And that is Dead Horse Point, that prominent mesa. We're not gonna linger much here because it is getting late in the day and there are a couple of other points of interest we are more interested in. Most importantly, Mesa Arch and Grand Viewpoint. Yeah, today we might have to stick to the greatest hits. Let's stop at the Green River Overlook. Hard to fathom what forces of nature could have carved something like this. Oh, by the way, that would be the Green River, presumably responsible for all this. Fascinating place and totally worth it, and I keep seeing faces on all these rocks. This is definitely one of Utah's top 5. We couldn't find parking at Mesa Arch, so let's continue towards Buck Canyon Overlook. This parking lot is pretty full too, but I think we can park here by the end. Images alone cannot convey the sheer vastness of this place. I dare to say this is almost as impressive as the Grand Canyon. Let's go all the way to the end of the road, which is Grand Viewpoint. I wanted to park here, but if I do, you see this Winnebago, he's parked like in an angle, and if I park here, he may not be able to get out. I'd rather park someplace else, since we want to go for a little hike. We might be a while.
This is called Grand Viewpoint. It's supposed to be a 2-mile round trip. They say it takes 1.5 hours, so that means it's probably a little strenuous, right? We'll see.
Okay, so the Overlook is right here, and then there is a 1-mile rim walk. We might not do the whole thing. The farther we walk along the rim, the more prominent this gaping hole, this canyon becomes from our perspective, like a giant ancient footprint on the ground.
A pretty good view from here. I keep saying that those are like it's like an animal paw, and it's the 3 fingers. I don't know, the three toes of an ancient beast. But I don't know. It turned out not to be such a long hike after all. We decided not to do like the whole rim trail all the way to the end. The view from here is quite impressive.
Now we've got one last point of interest, Mesa Arch, perhaps the most iconic view here in Canyonlands. Let's see if we can find parking.
Well, we're locked out with parking and we're gonna do a Mesa Arch now.
Mesa Arch is said to be best at sunrise, but we're gonna see it at sunset because timing. And here's looking back.
This first part is a little bit of an uphill, but I think it's mostly flat after this. Beautiful views to the back.
Check it out. There it is. You have no idea how cool it is to actually be here, seeing this thing in person and with a totally different light. Most pictures you see are taken at sunrise, but I kind of like it this way too, especially with the dark clouds in the background. I just can't get enough of this place. Can't get tired of staring through this arch into the distant pinnacles.
That was Mesa Arch. Everything I hoped it would be.
Okay, one last time, I promise.
This is it. It's iconic for sure. All right, let's hike that half mile back. Mostly uphill, by the way. There it is.
And now, there's no one there. Okay, let's hike back to the parking lot. Time's up. We still have to find somewhere to camp for the night. There's some BLM land nearby, but we are not entirely sure where it is, and the chances are we're gonna arrive there after sunset. Not my idea of fun, looking for a campsite in the dark. It is getting dark, and I don't like driving at night anymore, especially when I don't know the terrain. We're gonna stay at Willow Springs Road, and it is through here to the right. Over here, perhaps? I think I'm gonna go a little farther, find something a little more private. It is like a small city out here. Let me check this out. Seems a little soft. This looks promising. Yep, this is home for the night. I'm gonna be a little too close to this Airstream, but it is only for one night. I really hope they don't mind. It is time for yet another RV cooking show. We've got some chopped ham and a can of garbanzo beans, frozen onions and peppers, some salt, black pepper, some of that Vino Seco cooking wine I always use, and our garbanzo beans. A little bit of tomato sauce, and today I'm going to be adventurous and add a little bit of pesto. I think we are improving on the original time-honored Spanish recipe. Paprika, oregano, and a dash of cumin. Of course, a little garlic powder since we don't have the real thing. A little more cooking wine. Let's let it simmer for a while and that's it. Bon appetit. This turned out to be a pretty good campsite considering our late arrival. I love dry camping in the desert, self-contained, off-grid, and as I said, this was a pretty good campsite. I only wish I would have arrived earlier, and maybe would have found something more secluded, perhaps. Today we continue on the journey east. Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and eventually the mothership, Winnebago Towables in Middlebury, Indiana. But more about that on the next episode. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.